You're listening to 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Today's edition of the Megacast begins now. Welcome to the Megacast, our live, local, 5 days a week TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Today we'll be talking to a number of people about topics of interest and importance to Michiganders like you. Let's begin with what's making headlines today on our website, civiccentertv.com, on our local news page. Our first story today comes from Mark Cavett at the Oakland Press. The pandemic has had a number of effects on the community, including on the road, where crashes have increased 15% between now and in the past in 2020. In Oakland County, those numbers are even higher, coming in at about 21.7%, with Rochester Hills' increase at a stark 25% since the onset of the pandemic. Law enforcement, however, does not believe that new traffic safety laws are the answer, or at least the only solution to these issues, but rather say a change in roadway engineering might be better suited to reduce these numbers. Southfield Deputy Police Chief Aaron Hughley said, quote, "There are several factors that may be contributing to the increases in crashes in Southfield, as the city is one of the most traveled cities in the county. It is where the highest crash numbers do occur. Has two high volume and dangerous intersections and has experienced an increase in distracted drivers, just as other cities across the county," and closed quote. So stay safe on the road. As we know, more people are back out on the road with COVID-19, mostly in the rearview mirror. However, that does not mean that there are still many hazards out on the road that existed before the pandemic. Now there's just more congestion. So for those that have been driving to and from work or other locations regularly during the thick of the pandemic, who are now experiencing more congestion and more drivers back out there, be a little bit more mindful of other people on the road. And for those of you who are getting back out on the road a little bit more regularly, take your time, get yourself reacclimated, and everybody just needs to be a little bit more vigilant and a little bit more careful out on the roads as we all make an adjustment to more normalcy on the roadways every single day. Also making headlines today from Chandra Fleming at the Detroit Free Press on our website, on our local news page. If you're looking to travel this holiday season, now might be the time to get those plans in order. AAA says flyers in particular are not shying away from buying their tickets in advance, including right now for the holiday season. Their studies found that about 20% of those surveys said they do plan to travel during this year's holidays, with nearly half of those surveyed planning to book a flight earlier than in years past. So what does this mean for you if you're looking to travel this holiday season, in particular with those looking to buy their tickets in greater advance of their trips? It means more competition for the best price, says AAA President Debbie Haas, who said, quote, "Travelers expecting to fly this Thanksgiving should start locking in those plans now. Airline staffing shortages have resulted in fewer flights and therefore higher prices. As we get closer to the holidays, airfares are likely to get even more expensive as flights fill up. Our best advice is simple: book early. This will increase the odds of finding the flight that you want at a competitive price," and closed quote. So those plans, get those plans set and get those tickets earlier. Your price at the airport could look a little similar to the increase in prices at the pump over the last few months, and you may not have enough seats available to get yourself from point A to point Z this holiday season. Finally, making headlines today on our website at civiccentertv.com, on our local news page from Sherry McWhirter at MLive. A white spotted bear was spotted in the Upper Peninsula recently and is called, quote, "one in a million," and closed quote, by observers and scientists. The approximately 100-pound black bear with white fur is often referred to as a, quote, "spirit bear," and closed quote, and was found recently in the western Upper Peninsula. This is just the fifth time that one of these spirit bears has been spotted outside of British Columbia in Canada, which means this bear is truly one in a million of a sight right here in the Great Lakes State. Learn more about the spotted bear and the science behind just how rare this sighting is on our website at civiccentertv.com, on our local news page from our friends over at MLive. All those headlines from today and in the past couple of weeks are on our website, civiccentertv.com, on our local news page, along with helpful links about COVID-19 from the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great show ahead on this Monday edition of the Megacast. Coming up next, we'll talk to Discover Kalamazoo's Dana Wagner. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily 5 days per week TV, radio, and streaming show about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program by visiting civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations, including My Michigan TV. Well, if you're traveling throughout Michigan this fall, you're looking for some fun locations and a little bit of big city life, a great place to go is Kalamazoo. Joining us now from Discover Kalamazoo is their Director of Marketing and Communications, Dana Wagner, on the Megacast. Dana, thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, hi, good morning.
Good morning to you as well. So a lot of interesting things coming up in Kalamazoo, including at the zoo. You got a new event coming up called the Sounds of the Zoo. It's the inaugural version of this event. Tell us about Sounds of the Zoo and when it's going on, what people will experience.
Yeah, this is really exciting because it is the first year event. And so it's going to be taking place Monday, September 26th through Sunday, October 2nd. And one of the unique things about this event is it's entirely free and family friendly. So all throughout that week, there's going to be more than 50 diverse styles of local, regional, national, and international artists that'll be performing at various different venues around Kalamazoo. There'll also be interactive workshops and kids activities. So it's a whole multicultural music festival and symposium that's bringing together artists and industry professionals and music lovers. So if you love music, you have to come out to Sounds of the Zoo. They have classes and concerts, as I mentioned, happening daily across all those different venues around Kalamazoo. And so there's a full schedule. I can't name all the artists and all the venues that are going to be involved there. So you really want to check out that full schedule and come join us in Kalamazoo. You can learn more about that at soundsofthezoo.com.
So where did this event really come from? It's the inaugural version of this event, but what prompted bringing this sort of multicultural festival and symposium to the zoo?
Yeah, so Jennifer Prinkert-Hudson was actually the organizer of the event, and I think she started this vision maybe close to a year ago. And so we have been supporters of her efforts and making this dream come true. I mean, she really envisions just an opportunity for both music and learning, and education kind of coming together in this week-long series, and having it be free to the community so that there aren't those barriers, to be able to join in and experience great live music and educational opportunities.
There's plenty of other fun in the Kalamazoo area and Kalamazoo County, including this year in the village of Vicksburg. It's their 12th annual Harvest Festival. Tell us about that event, when people can expect to be able to visit Vicksburg and attend their Harvest Festival.
Yeah, so as Discover Kalamazoo, we not only promote downtown Kalamazoo, but we promote the entire county of Kalamazoo. And so if you haven't heard of Vicksburg, Vicksburg's in the south part of Kalamazoo County, and they do have a fun Harvest Festival event that's happening this year on Sunday, September 25th. So this is another one that is fun for the whole family. It's free, and there are so many things going on here. I've got to reference my list, including horse-drawn wagon rides, Model A car rides. They've got different pumpkin decorating and weight guess contests, a word hunt, a sawmill demonstration, antique tractor demonstration, and they'll even have a lot of like children's entertainment, including a petting zoo and, of course, food vendors out there. And this is all taking place on the grounds of the Vicksburg Historic Village and free to attend.
And if people want to get into kind of the Halloween spirit a little bit earlier as we get through the end of September and head into October, really interesting and fun, more spooky event coming up on October 7th, running all throughout the month of October. Tell us about the Skeletor.
Yeah, Skeletor is coming back. We're excited. This is where in downtown Kalamazoo, there are, gosh, I would say even hundreds of skeletons that are all different, and they're stationed all throughout the downtown, and they've got different themes to them. So you can go and stand next to them and get some cool photos, great photo opportunity, but everything from like spooky to silly, funny, scary, like all kinds of the decorated skeletons out there around the downtown. And as you mentioned too, it's going on all throughout the month of October, starting on the 7th. And there will be a nice kickoff event to that as well on October 7th with some live music and food. And the great thing too is within downtown Kalamazoo, we have the Central Commons Social District. So you're able to grab a beverage at any of the participating breweries, restaurants, bars. And so you can go and enjoy that as you're walking around and checking out all those skeletons. And that's also tied in with the Skeletor bar crawl. So you can make your way to some of those stops. There's going to be spooky themed drink specials throughout the month. And you go to a minimum of 5 and you can be entered in to win some downtown dollars.
We're joined by Dana Wagner on today's edition of the Megacast. She is the Director of Marketing and Communications for Discover Kalamazoo. Learn more information about everything you can do in Kalamazoo and the Kalamazoo area at discoverkalamazoo.com. Discoverkalamazoo.com for more information. And while people are excited about Skeletor, some people want to take the spooky season and learn a little bit more about their city as well. So for those that are interested in learning about Kalamazoo while also experiencing a little bit of the haunted festivities of October, tell us about the history tours that are going on in Kalamazoo that kind of bring the spirit of the season in with the history of Kalamazoo.
Yes, these are so popular every season and they do sell out. So that's why I wanted to mention it now so you can jump on and get your tickets for these because they're awesome. It's the Haunted History Tours of Kalamazoo, and you'll be joining the authors of Haunted History of Kalamazoo for that evening of Kalamazoo history mixed with the paranormal world. So they have different stories as you walk through the downtown. They'll stop and point out some of it, both the history and maybe some interesting, paranormal happenings that have been going on. And so you can hear about the ghost of Thelma, learn about Bronson Park's past, and the music legend who roams the Radisson Plaza Hotel downtown, and 10 more haunted locations are part of this tour. So it starts and ends at Bronson Park in downtown Kalamazoo and covers just over a mile, takes about 2 hours, but it's fun and enjoyable for the whole family. You can get tickets in advance, as I mentioned. That's at paranormalmichigan.com. And they do have 3 different tours coming up in the month of October. I saw ones on October 1st, 15th, and 28th. So as I mentioned, those will sell out. And if you're interested in history and the paranormal, this is a great, fun pairing to learn about the area.
And Dana, there's so much really interesting things to do in Kalamazoo and so many different places to go to explore some of the history of Kalamazoo, the history of Michigan, but also really interesting fun and activities as well. And one way to kind of bring all that together for the 9th consecutive year is the Southwest Michigan Cultural Membership Exchange. Tell us about that and how people that are interested in exploring certain areas of Kalamazoo may now be able to explore a little bit more of Kalamazoo with just one of their memberships.
Yeah, there's 6 participating museums and attractions that are part of the Southwest Michigan Cultural Membership Exchange. It happens all through the month of October, where current members of the Air Zoo, Binder Park Zoo, Gilmore Car Museum, the Kalamazoo Nature Center, Kalamazoo Institute of Arts and the Kellogg Biological Station Bird Sanctuary and Kellogg Manor House. Any of those attractions, if you have a membership to them, you can take that to one of these other participating organizations and get free admission in the month of October. So it's a great way to get around to all of those and learn some new things, everything from art to science to history, the outdoors. And if you're not a member at one of those organizations already, you're in luck. You can still participate in this because all you need to do is go and purchase a membership at one of those organizations, and that will allow you to participate in the month of October for the cultural membership exchange.
And just how much of an impact does something like this have on the ability to get people that have certain areas of interest to be more interested in kind of expanding their horizons in their own city, in their own area of the state of Michigan, and engaging in some of these other organizations as well?
Well, it's a great opportunity. It's a chance for the whole month for free to go out and maybe try a museum that you don't have a membership at, and maybe you thought, that's not really of interest to me, but here's your chance to go and try it because you may learn something new and just have a different experience. So I think it's great that we're able to not only for residents but visitors coming to the area as well. Our museums are very low cost here. I mean, pretty affordable for families to get out and have those experiences. And you only need one and you can get access to all 6 of these, and that is amazing.
DiscoverKalamazoo.com is their website to learn more information on these different locations and events, and keep up to date on everything happening in Kalamazoo all throughout the year. Again, that website, DiscoverKalamazoo.com. We're joined by Dana Wagner, the Director of Marketing and Communications for Discover Kalamazoo, on today's edition of the Megacast. Dana, for you, what about Kalamazoo and about that area of Michigan makes it so interesting and compelling for you? And why would you suggest that somebody that's looking for a new location to travel in Michigan, somewhere maybe they haven't thought about going before, to come to Kalamazoo and check out all the great things happening in the Kalamazoo area?
Well, as we just talked about, we have some world-renowned museums in the area that cover a wide range of interests, and you can get both the history, but if you're into nature and the outdoors, we have a beautiful, trail system in the area and access to the Calhaven Trail and Fort Custer State Park. But then you get the outdoors, but then you can also get your downtown experience that's approachable and with lots of great entertainment venues, dining, I think some of the best breweries in the region as well. So there is something for everyone's interest. So I think if you are a couple, if you're a family, even if you're a solo traveler looking for a new experience, you're going to find a variety of things here in Kalamazoo in one place. So you're going to get a lot out of your next trip if you're looking for a great place to go.
Dana, anything else that we should be keeping an eye out for in the near future in Kalamazoo? Some fun things that are also coming up that we haven't discussed today?
Well, we've had a few different new restaurants or venues opening up, and in downtown Kalamazoo, Jungle Bird Kazoo recently opened up, and I know later this year you want to look out for Dabney & Co. It's going to be a new cocktail lounge and entertainment venue. And just this past weekend, the Steins Park Beer Garden, so a German-themed outdoor style beer garden, just opened in Portage area, actually just by the Air Zoo, which my background is of. So I would check that out as well. There's lots of exciting things happening.
Well, Dana, appreciate it. Thanks for joining us and telling us more about everything happening this fall in Kalamazoo.
Thank you.
DiscoverKalamazoo.com is their website for more information and keep up to date on all this fun happening this fall in Kalamazoo and all throughout the year. One more time, DiscoverKalamazoo.com. We'll take a break. On the other side, one of the hallmarks of the fall season is going to cider mills. We'll talk to one of Oakland County's favorite cider mills coming up next on the Megacast.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Let's whoop it up for these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Fire Prevention Week is just around the corner. Join volunteer, part-time, and on-call firefighters at this year's Fire Open House. Catch up on your fire safety knowledge with live demonstrations and hands-on activities. Chat with local businesses and resources about fire prevention, see some familiar faces, fight future fires, and make some new friends. The West Bloomfield Fire Open House, October 2nd from noon to 3 p.m. at Fire Station 1 on Orchard Lake Road.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily 5 days per week TV, radio, and streaming show about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on all of our partnering stations all across the Great Lakes state, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the Megacast as we're in the thick of the fall season, about to officially be autumn here in Michigan and in this hemisphere of the world. And that means it is cider mill season. One of our favorites is in the local area in Bloomfield Hills. It's the Franklin Cider Mill. And joining us now is Melanee Peltz Radner, one of the co-owners of the Franklin Cider Mill. Melanie, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So this is an interesting year because in the last couple of years, the Franklin Cider Mill, like many other cider mills, have been open, but their operations have been so different than they've traditionally been in the past, given the status of the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic not entirely over, but still in a much different place, and we're in a much safer place now than we were even a year ago. So what's different and what's a little bit more traditional this year at the Franklin Cider Mill?
So actually, when COVID happened, it actually opened up our ideas to expand the cider mill's outside festivities. So now that we did that in 2020, we have kept it going. So we now have a whole outside area open 7 days a week to purchase all your cider mill, cold cider, slushies, hot cider, and donuts. And then we also have our traditional inside to get the same exact product that you would be getting outside in our historical mill that is, the original mill that's been there since 1832.
And so with all those changes and some of those new traditions that came in, how did that add a new wrinkle to what Franklin Cider Mill traditions are, and how was the reaction to some of those sustaining traditions now but were sparked out of the pandemic?
So I actually think people are loving it more because when they come, we are like jamming and busy, but nobody feels the craziness of standing in lines for so long. Because now on the weekends, I have about 10 to 12 lines with unbelievable sales staff that I'm so lucky and fortunate to have, that people are going boom, boom, boom. So they're able to get their cider and donuts and go enjoy sitting by the river, talking, listening to our jazz music on the weekends, feeding the ducks. So I feel like people feel like they have more time to hang out and enjoy their Saturday or Sunday afternoons. And during the week, we're always, not as busy, but we do get busier, around lunchtime in the afternoons. But now that we've opened everything up, there's so many different places and spaces to go.
In terms of safety precautions, in the past couple of years, there have been distancing measures that have been put in place at your cider mill and others. So same thing with masking requirements. What is in place, if any, at this moment in time for this season?
So we do not require masks anymore. But what we did install when the pandemic was acrylic boards in between our sales staff and our customers. We kept those up. We could have taken them down. We opted not to. It's just a great, precautionary for people to feel safe still when they're talking to somebody face to face. If they don't have a mask on, there is that plexiglass in between them. And you know what? It's a little bit hard to hear people, but everyone just talks a little bit louder. And to me, that's good enough. And we have hand sanitizing stations still all around the cider mill to use if you need.
Another addition from the COVID-19 pandemic, Melanie, was the ability for people to order their cider and their donuts and their other treats from the Franklin Cider Mill online. Is that still something that's available in this, for lack of better terms, post-pandemic era we're in?
Yes, absolutely. You can still go to our franklincidermill.com or to your favorites online, and you can just pull up into our upper lot, which is off of Franklin Road. We have a little porch, and they jump out, walk on the porch, and someone is right there to give you your order. So you're in and out when you do that.
More information can be found on online ordering and other events and happenings at the Franklin Cider Mill by visiting their website, franklincidermill.com, franklincidermill.com. For more information, of course, their regular hours there can be found on their website as well, and online ordering information, franklincidermill.com. We're joined by Melanee Peltz Radner. She is a co-owner at the Franklin Cider Mill, joining us on today's edition of the Megacast. You also have some very fun events that are coming up there for additional fun at the Cider Mill this season, including monthly story times being offered at 10 a.m. by the iconic bridge there at the Franklin Cider Mill. Tell us about story time and why events like this were added to the docket this year at the Franklin Cider Mill.
Well, we actually brought the story time last year as like a trial, and families really love it. They love to come to the cider mill. Every month is a different theme, whether we talk about apples or ducks or donuts. They're giving information, they're giving recipes, they're giving coloring books. And one of our local librarians from the local Franklin Library comes and sits and reads a book, and the kids just kind of like relax and chill out. It's mellow at that time on a Saturday morning when they're doing it. So then once they're done, they're able to go feed the ducks, walk around, enjoy the music. We brought that in. We also have a lot of fun things now. We added an unbelievable tattoo artist that does full face painting, arm painting on Saturdays and Sundays. We have an unbelievable magician that does interaction magician with the crowd. So he has to make sure that everybody's involved and people are really loving him. And then, of course, we have our unbelievable cider dogs that are grilled to perfection right when you're there as well. And then we have our unbelievable guy by the name of John. And John does our jazz music. He does interactive singing. He does balloons, xylophone, and people really seem to enjoy him as well.
Yeah, much more fun and activity areas there are now more in place. Of course, as you mentioned, live mellow jazz by John Davis and Chris the Magician are there Saturdays and Sundays at the Franklin Cider Mill. Again, you can find more information on franklincidermill.com, franklincidermill.com for more information on all these fun stuff happening there. And there's also a lot of history at the Franklin Cider Mill that was a little bit reserved during the pandemic for safety reasons. What sort of inside looks are back this year at the Franklin Cider Mill, if any, that the community can enjoy when they go to this historic location in Bloomfield Hills?
So what we have now brought back is where people can now view the actual cider pressing itself as it's being done. That's also in our historical building where they come in the top parking lot. We actually put what times we're going to press. So if someone sees that it's not available, they'll come back. And they actually get to watch all of our apples get crushed and pressed and watch the actual process that goes into actually making our, iconic traditional cider that we always sell. That it's incredible.
It really is an interesting process to see. And what's great about the Franklin Cider Mill is it's also out in the open. If you're going inside to purchase some cider or donuts, you're seeing part of the process right there. Of course, there's another area down by the river that you can walk in and see some of the milling process as well. And that is something that is truly unique to the Franklin Cider Mill. Melanie, what other sort of changes have been made or been discussed going into this year to kind of enhance that community aspect of the cider mill? You've touched on it a few times, and it really does seem like the last few years haven't so much been a transition to how do we keep, not just a transition to how do we keep the business up and running and this tradition up and running, but how do we make it more of that community staple that it always has been, but really is something that is that draw, especially as we're coming out of the thick of the pandemic?
Well, I think a lot of it goes to our staff that we have. We have the returning staff that have been there since my grandfather and my father. And I think that we have made it such a fun environment that we are all one big happy family and a community in its own. So when people come to the Cider Mill, they feel the love, they feel the happiness, they feel the kindness, and people love that. And we also are very involved within, our downtown Franklin, other stores that are involved. We try to, give back to the community there at the library. They do a lot of art fairs there, vegetable fairs. And I think that we are all trying to be one big community to bring Franklin back to what it's always been, an incredible little, historical town.
Something that will excite a lot of people going back to the Franklin Cider Mill that come back year after year, generation after generation. Is this year at the return of hot dogs and cider dogs at the mill. Tell us about that, Melanie.
So our hot dogs and cider dogs have been, it's a hot dog, but we marinate it in cider overnight. During the week, Monday through Friday, from 11 till 3, we actually are boiling them, making them, same exact hot dogs. We do lunch specials for people from work who just want to come get a lunch special, which they could get a hot dog, a bag of chips, and a glass of cider or a bottle of water. And on the weekends, we have our famous guy doing our grilling for us. And those people line up for their, jumbo beef hot dogs. They're unbelievable. People love them. And so that's really, I never thought that hot dogs would be such an iconic thing at the Cider Mill, but people really look forward to it and wait in line for it for a long time.
Again, you can find all the information you need on different events and happenings at the Cider Mill, as well as some of the history of the Franklin Cider Mill by visiting their website, franklincidermill.com. franklincidermill.com for more information. Joining us on today's edition of the Megacast is Melanee Peltz Radner, co-owner of the Franklin Cider Mill. Melanie, any other information that we should know or other things that are on the docket this year at the Franklin Cider Mill that are coming up, people might be excited about?
So we have a couple new specialty products that we are not releasing yet. So you're gonna have to come out. Probably this weekend will be its debut. And I feel that a lot of long lifetime customers and new customers are gonna be really excited about it. So you're gonna have to come out and see what that is. We also are gonna be doing some partnerships with some toyology and some companies for, Halloween, try to give back to the community that way. We'll have a lot of Halloween festivities that we'll be announcing soon as well. And we're just in Michigan State, and football and tailgates. Everybody, please come out and get your cider and donuts, bring it up to the tailgates. We are big football fans over there, and just go blue, go green, and whatever makes you happy. So yeah.
Everything happens at the corner of 14 Mile and Franklin in Bloomfield Hills. You can find more information. Again, franklincidermill.com. Their hours now through November 27th, the closing Sunday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Melanie, anything else for us before we let you go today?
No, we would just love to see all your smiling faces. Like I said, we are open 7 days a week. We have new products coming in every week. Plus, obviously, everybody is known for our, cold, unbelievable apple cider with all of our premium apples, our hot donuts that we are always serving hot, slushes, our hot cider that we have spiced to our, private spicing that we do, and our unbelievable market that we have outside with all Michigan-made products. 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. each and every day. More information and online ordering can be found at franklincidermill.com. Melanie, thanks so much for joining us. Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it. Well, we've been on the west side of the state. We've been in the southeast part of the state. Now let's head north. As we come back from the break, we'll talk to Mike Kent from the Traverse City Tourism coming up next on today's edition of the Megacast.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily 5 days per week TV, radio, and streaming show about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program on our website, civiccentertv.com/Megacast. You'll find more information on all of our partnering stations in Southeast Michigan and all throughout the state, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the Megacast is Mike Kent. He is the Public Relations Manager for Traverse City Tourism and is back with us once again to talk about all things fall in Traverse City. Mike, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, great to see you again. It seems like every time I talk to you, we have got spectacular weather. And you know, the same is happening today. I've been watching the forecast for both yesterday and today for the last week or so, and it looked like it was going to be rainy. It is just beautiful. Sunshine, looking out over Grand Traverse Bay. It's beautiful blue water. Was actually last night, was out at Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore and was at the life-saving station with my 2.5-year-old grandson and sat on the beach and felt the cool breeze hitting me. And I realized, you know, so many parts of this country are in the furnace, and yet, man, we have been blessed with some spectacular weather this year. So come on up.
Yeah, it's a great time. It's been nice and warm in the state of Michigan, but the humidity is a little bit further down, especially in the northern part of the state where it tends to be a little bit more temperate and cool than other parts of the state as well. And it's a great time to go and discover everything happening in Traverse City. We just talked to a cider mill recently here on the Megacast, and there are a lot of great cider mills in all regions of the state. What are some of your favorites in the Traverse City area?
You know, I don't know if I'd call it a cider mill, but Jacob's Farm is just west of Traverse City. They've got a phenomenal corn maze, a great, they've really opened it up to used to just be for the fall events. And now, you know, they have live music, they have some phenomenal pizza. Again, take my grandson there because they got a play area and he absolutely loves it there. So Jacob's Farm has a lot of activities, and it's where a lot of people do go. But the other thing that's very popular, especially this time of year, is going out to the wineries. And I know, Tyler, you and I have talked about this before. We got over 40 wineries that are part of the Traverse Wine Coast. And you can take, you know, either the Leelanau Peninsula or Old Mission Peninsula, and you can do a drive up there. And yeah, look at those colors. That's actually taken from one of the wineries in the area. And, you know, sit there, have a sip of wine, and watch this explosion of color taking place out in front of you. And you see the bay in the background also. This is a very popular time for the wineries. It's also the harvest season for the wineries, where you start seeing the grapes being harvested, and you start seeing you know, the next vintage starting to take place. So it's always kind of a special time to take advantage of the fall season. And you know, we talked about the winding roads. You know, there is Old Mission Lighthouse right there, and to be able to take these winding roads, whether it's M22 or Old Mission Peninsula, and you see this explosion of color taking place all around you, and so many scenic lookouts to take in the sights. You know, if you just want to drive, it's a great experience. If you want to stop and do some hiking or biking. We have hundreds of miles of trails, and you and I have talked about the trails just around Traverse City, brand new Boardman Loop Trail. When we start seeing the colors popping and take a bike ride or a hike and those trails, it's an experience you won't soon forget.
Especially with the fall colors coming in. Northern Michigan, northern parts of the UP tend to get those colors a little bit earlier than other parts of the state of Michigan. So if you want to get a jump on seeing some of the fall colors here in the Great Lakes State, Traverse City is a great place to start. What are some of your favorite locations in Traverse City and in the local area to explore some of those colors?
I mentioned the two of them, really, M22 and Old Mission Peninsula, absolutely fantastic. But there is, and it's open now, and we got to temper things a little bit. We're starting to see a little bit of color. Like I said, I was in Leelanau Peninsula last night, and you see the occasional tree that's got some color on it. If I were to guess, we're maybe at about 5%. We're a good 2-3 weeks away. The beginning of October, the middle of October, that's when you see typically the most colors. You can always go on our website at traversity.com, and we will do an update on how the colors are looking, because it is so dependent on the weather. It's so dependent upon the amount of rainfall in the course of the year, and it is very dependent upon the heat that it's taking place. So it's going to change, and it's going to change by region. You mentioned the Upper Peninsula. Yeah, they're typically a couple of weeks ahead of us, and we're typically a couple of weeks ahead of where you are in the Detroit area. So, but the other one that is, I haven't been up on it in the fall colors, but I just got to believe it's phenomenal. I have been up on it both in winter skiing, and I was up. We talked about the bike trail that they've started, which is at Crystal Mountain. They have already started using their chairlift to take people to the top of Crystal Mountain so that they can look out over the fall colors. And that's going on now. Check out our website, check out Crystal Mountain's website. And new this year, we talked about it. They also have, you can take a bike up to the top of the mountain, and they have 6 different rides that you can take down. I just found that was absolutely a blast to do. And I can only imagine what it's like when the leaves start changing colors, to be able to take the chairlift up to the top of the mountain, do one of 6 trails on the way down, either a black diamond right down to a green, whatever you're comfortable riding. So I would say those are 3 of my favorite. But I'll tell you, this time of year, there are so many opportunities, not the least of which, let's not forget about the sailing cruises that go by. We've got Inland Seas, we've got Discovery, we've got the Wind Dancer. They're all doing sails this time of year, and they're getting close to the shores. You can see the colors. It's a different perspective to see the fall colors when you're seeing it from the middle of Grand Traverse Bay. So I haven't been out on that in the fall color. I've been out on a couple of those cruises in the summer, and I can only imagine what the color is like, and the fun of seeing those fall colors through a sailing adventure in the area.
We're joined by Mike Kent. He is the Public Relations Manager for Traverse City Tourism, joining us on today's edition of the Megacast. As he said, you can go to their website, traversity.com, to find more information on things to do in the city, outdoor events, other fun and interesting events there, as well as ways that you can plan your trips to Traverse City and the local area up there at traversity.com, traversity.com, for more information on everything happening in Traverse City. And Mike, what's great about this time of the year too for travelers across Michigan is the thick of the summer season. That tends to be the peak travel season for those that are coming into Michigan, or those traveling throughout Michigan that already live here. But the fall is also a great time to explore some of these great activities, maybe a little bit more temperate weather, but also you can get a lot of great deals as some of these businesses are kind of wrapping up their peak season, but trying to get the last of those peak sales through before the end of the fall.
Yeah, this area is known very well for its hospitality and its welcoming, but you're absolutely right. To go through Traverse City right now is very busy. Yeah. You come here on the weekend, you come here midweek, and it's busy, but it's nothing compared to what the summer is. So, to be able to make a reservation at your favorite restaurant or activity, it's a little easier to do now. And so you have a lessening of crowds. At the same time, there is still that excitement. There is still the energy that this community has. Like I say, whether it's downtown or going for a walk on the beach. I'm watching the seagulls right now as a person is walking on the beach, and the seagulls are all in a flurry to go away. This has always been some of my favorite time of the year in this area. Usually the weather is absolutely beautiful as it is right now. We still have summer-like temperatures, but cooler in the evening. Great opportunity to sit, as I mentioned yesterday, to be able to sit by the beach and feel the breeze on your face. So yeah, it is a terrific time to come to the area. It used to be Traverse City was a summer destination, period. It is not. It is a 4-season destination, and this community welcomes everyone to this area throughout that time. And hey, something we can't forget about, Tyler, is very soon the Detroit Red Wing training camp is going to be starting, and your people have a real interest in the Red Wings. We're finishing up. I think today, in fact, is the last day for the NHL prospect camp that takes place up here, and then followed by the Detroit Red Wing camp, which is, 22nd through the 26th is Red Wing camp. I used to, and I'm kind of a stickler for keeping my kids in school, but I've got one son that was just really into the Red Wings, and if his grades were good and he was doing well in school, we would take a day off and we'd go to the Red Wing training camp. And it's so accessible to the players. Unlike, when you see them at the arena there, it's, there's a distance between you. Here, it's a very intimate setting at center ice. So it's a good opportunity to see the Red Wings and the future Red Wings up close and personal. And they're always very friendly. There's always Red Wings sightings. They're hanging out in the evening and going to the different restaurants and bars in the area. And there's always people who are talking about, oh, I saw so-and-so at the restaurant last night. So get a lot of people to come to the Red Wing training camp, and it's always a fun experience.
Yeah, it's a great time up there for Red Wings training camp, and it does provide that interactive experience that we really don't see in most of our other sports, other than maybe football during their training camp. We're really able to have that interaction and see up close the development of this team. You can find more information on Red Wings training camp and other fun events and happenings in Traverse City this fall. TraverseCity.com for more information on everything happening all throughout the year in the great city of Traverse City and the local area as well. One of the fan favorites for the fall season, you mentioned some of the wineries earlier on, Mike. One of the favorites this November is Beer Week. Tell us about that and how people can participate.
Yeah, well, we actually have to separate that because there are 2 beer weeks. Okay, one to talk about is in Frankfurt. They've got Beer Week October 3rd through the 8th. And then Traverse City has Beer Week November 11th through the 18th. So there is so much creativity that takes place with the brewers in this region. I know we've talked about it before, about one of the brewers, Right Brain Brewery, that puts a whole cherry pie, it's the cherry capital of the world, why not, into their mix and creates a creative drink, and those who are hardcore, no, my beer has to be exactly like this, they might not appreciate it. But that's the cool thing with small batch brewers, is they're not afraid to try something different. And, putting cherry pie into a brew, I personally like it. My wife is not a big fan, but she's more hardcore of traditional breweries. But that's what happens, and that happens in Frankfurt. We've got Storm Cloud over there, some fantastic food along with some really creative brews. We have a number of breweries in the Traverse City area. So the way that Traverse City works, we will have a passport. So it's an online digital passport where people check into so many breweries during the course of the week. And they eligible to win a prize from Traverse, not eligible, they can get a prize from Traverse City Tourism. That's a T-shirt or other things that are part of it. And many of the locations are offering different discounts. Again, that's not until November. That site, you can still get the passport now. But the details of it are still coming because we still have different breweries that are signing up for it. So that's coming up in November, October. We have the one in Frankfurt. Just a great opportunity to check out the communities and see the craftsmanship that goes into the brews. And Tyler, that's the big thing about we've got a very vibrant distillery business. We've got breweries. We've got wineries. It's not about going to these locations and drinking as much as you can. It is about going to those locations and tasting the craftsmanship that goes into it. And all of them, they're very cognizant of this is our opportunity to meet face to face with customers or potential customers to see what goes into the craftsmanship of those brews. And that's the opportunity for Beer Week. That's the opportunity in May when we have Wine Week that's going on in the Traverse City area, is to check out the craftsmanship that they provide. It goes back to the what we talked about earlier, the creativity that they bring, and they're not afraid to try something different. If it doesn't work, they don't try it again. If it works, they got something, right? And when you're dealing with small batch brewers, that's the benefit of that.
Well, Mike, we appreciate you joining us. Any other fun events happening in Traverse City we haven't talked about that people should be looking out for this season? We got about a minute left.
Yeah, we should talk about Up North Pride Week, which is September 28th through October 2nd. I know we have talked about this before in the past. This area is inclusive to everyone, and we have seen such tremendous advances for acceptance of the LGBTQ plus community here. When they started their Pride March quite a few years ago, I don't know the exact number, there were a couple people that showed up, a couple hundred people that showed up. The last time we had a full march, and that was pre-pandemic, there were 6,000 people that showed up. It's not only the LGBTQ plus community, it is also the supporters of that community. So it's really exciting to see all the events that take place. Again, you mentioned it, traversity.com. You can find all the activities because there's a bunch of things going on all week, with the biggest being the Pride March. And it's just a fun week and a fun event going on.
Well, Mike, we appreciate it. Thanks for joining us and telling us more about all things happening in Traverse City this fall.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
TraverseCity.com is the place to go to find all that information and other things happening in Traverse City, not just in the fall, but all throughout the year. One more time, that is TraverseCity.com. That is going to do it for today's edition of the Megacast. Big thank you to everybody that joined us on our program today. And if you're just tuning in or you missed some of our program today, you can find us on demand this afternoon at civiccentertv.com/Megacast. There you'll also find information on all of our partnering stations and find out all the locations. You can join us live and on demand and live to tape as well throughout the day all across the Great Lakes state. You can also go to our website on our local news page at civiccentertv.com. Keep up to date on COVID-19 information from the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division, as well as other news making headlines across the state. That does it for today's Megacast. We'll return tomorrow with a new program.